There's no countdown on this one. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Reseller Show. My name's Andy Lawrence.
And my name's Blackburn.
And I believe we're live on the Reseller Show this evening, this Monday evening at 7 o'clock. We're still getting to grips with this new live software, and we used to get a little countdown intro, but I don't think that happens here. So hopefully it's all working and we're all live, and you guys will be steadily flowing in and joining us for the live show this evening. Hello to everyone watching back on YouTube, and if you're listening later on during the week on the podcast, how are you doing? Hope you're having a great week, and whatever you're doing, whether you're jogging, taking the dog for a walk, commuting to work, whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a good week, and hope you're taking massive action every day, as my good friend Kev is making sure that you're doing. So yeah, how's everyone doing? Let's see. I haven't seen the chat yet. Let's see if we can bring up the chat and see who's in.
We've got Simon in, we've got Sam in, we've got Danny in, we've got all the regulars in. Thank you guys so much for checking us out once more. This week we hit a milestone of 200 subscribers on YouTube, which is awesome. Podcast is going strong. We're all going strong. We're all building up this momentum. It's fantastic. And Matt's in as well, so great to see you guys. I hope the weekend has started really, really well, and we've got a jam-packed show. We're talking all things, everything tonight, Andy. We've got great show notes in the description and everything.
We're fully set up and prepared for this evening, which is good. Yeah, our virtual assistant Des has been doing a great job in the background, making sure that we've got everything as prepared for us with what we're going to be talking about and everything, which is makes life a lot easier for us. So in that case, I think we should probably crack on, don't you, Kev?
Yeah, let's start with some news, shall we?
Why not? Do you want to crack on with the first one?
The first one. Let me see if I can get this up right here. So there's a big image that I've just put on screen. I'm just going to block my face up. It's probably the best thing for it. So Amazon continues to dominate e-commerce with eBay, Walmart falling behind. You know, they continue. There's this article. I think there should be a link in the show notes, which was basically saying that Amazon continued to run away with the share of the market, and the other companies are just struggling to keep up, Andy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's something we should expect by now, but it is always amazing when these new headlines come out that they're just really pushing on, and it just makes sense. They've created something that just works. It's something that people appreciate. It's not just a place to buy your stuff. It's a service. It's a way of life, and it's something that they deserve because they put themselves in a position to make it happen. So it is always amazing to see these news articles coming out about how well they're doing, but they've earned it, and they've certainly put themselves in a position. I mean, it's slightly scary how when one company is so dominant in the marketplace, but that's business. If you want to compete, if eBay want to compete, then they've got to drop something big. They're going to have to bring out their own fulfillment network or something big to bring the audience back towards them. And I think it would be healthy if they do that, to have some healthy competition for Amazon, to keep them on the straight and narrow, so to speak. But right now, they've got it all their own way, so we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out.
Yeah, I think, just to add my 2 cents, I think the reality is the world that we live in is the best services, the best products, they will find themselves to the top, and they will stay there until somebody comes up and innovates and creates a better service or a better product or whatever the case is. And the one thing that I must say, and the reason why you listen to Jeff himself, and he keeps referring back to this philosophy as day one. They haven't done anything yet. They are just starting. And I think it's a really, really strong, and it's a philosophy that I believe that all of us here need to continue reminded on all the time, that we haven't done anything yet. We've done nothing compared to Amazon, obviously, but even if you've managed to quit your job, maybe even if you've got some freedom in your life, you've got to always keep the finger on the pulse of your business and continue to innovate and grow and keep pushing and keep evolving, because if you don't, you will be left behind. That's business.
Exactly. Couldn't have put it better myself, Kev. It's just the way it is. It's business, and we've all got to be aware of how that moves and be looking for new opportunities. I think that's been a big part of my business, making sure that I'm always looking for new avenues and new options and new strategies as the market changes. And over the long term, you definitely have to do that. I've seen that, if I was still had the majority of my business on eBay, I would not be in the position I am today, because it has evolved and Amazon is the place. And I started playing with it way before I got to the point where I was doing a lot of business. But having half an eye open on new opportunities is good. You don't want to get too distracted, but I think it's important to see what else is going on, because if it takes a hold, you want to be at least have a foot in the door rather than caught out as to what might happen in the future. So I would definitely agree with that for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, just a couple more shout outs. Mandy, it's great to see you this evening. Simon, great to see you, saying that he needed a lot of YouTube refreshes to find us. If you it's come up on mine. If you press the bell notification, if you subscribe and then press the bell notification, it should, on what I think, it should notify you immediately as soon as we're live, Simon, just for information. Anybody watching back, if you guys can give us a thumbs up as well. I think, has Sam been in the chat already, giving us a boost? Much appreciated. But there's Chris in, Sean's in, KP, good to see you. Neil, good to see you. Awesome. Shall we go on to the second bit of news?
Yeah, why not? So the second bit of news here, let's have a look. Amazon is opening a new dangerous, let's move it over here so I'm not looking in the wrong direction. Amazon is opening a new dangerous goods warehouse after dozens of fulfillment center workers are injured by bear spray fumes in December. I guess that's in America, because we don't really have that many issues with bears here in the UK, so I'm guessing that is more to do with the US. I don't know, unless bear spray is something else, but I guess that is what it sounds like, is for deterring bears from eating you. And if that's the case, I'm guessing that's the US thing. But that's interesting, isn't it, that they're actually deciding to move everything that could be classed as toxic into a totally different place, which means they're not saying we don't want it, they're saying we're going to put it somewhere else. So interesting how that's going to pan out.
Well, I mean, that could, as times evolve, like Amazon, they need to like, there's a lot of products that are hazmat, there are a lot of products that are dangerous, and as time evolves, Amazon, you would think that they would start looking at those products that they're maybe not selling through their FBA programs, and I think they're already doing hazmat trials and programs and things. The more they do this, the more they actually build an actual center, a warehouse specifically for dangerous goods, the more chances that it's going to start opening more and more things up, obviously.
It's just clicking through here. It's in Mississippi and measuring 500,000 square feet. A new warehouse specifically created to store and fulfill orders dangerous items like bleach, cleaner, nail polish, and bear spray. I tell you what, if they ever get mixed together, that would be a hell of a concoction, wouldn't it? You really don't want to be around if bleach, nail polish, and bear spray got together. But I guess it must be like a tear gas type of maybe not as bad, maybe a pepper spray that you get to deter bears. But you don't want to be anywhere near that if maybe the carton gets dropped. So I guess they're building a purpose-built warehouse that they can deal with that safely. So that makes sense. But interesting to see, where that's going to go in future, because Amazon are always going to make opportunities out of these scenarios, and they're embracing it rather than saying, right, these are too dangerous, we're just going to say you can't sell bear spray and bleach. They're saying, no, you can, we'll just treat it differently and we'll find a way around it, which is always encouraging.
Just like the final bit of news for you guys, which is another bit of news saying that Amazon delivery is coming to hundreds of Next stores in a brand new service. Now, again, not 100% sure the ins and outs of this particular news, but if they're going into next stores, if they're dropping off different packages for people to pick up, there's more than just yellow lockers that you may have seen already. But anyway, Amazon will continue to expand, and as we know, especially here in the UK, Next is a huge chain business in itself. So more customers for Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It shows that they're still pushing on in the UK and giving us more opportunities to make life more convenient. So that's good to see.
If you guys have got any questions at all, as you guys are here Monday, as always, we're just here chatting, having a good time. But yeah, there was a couple of successes. Some worthy notes this week. The first one was somebody called Mick Armstrong. Great to see Mick sending in a photo in one of the Facebook group communities, saying that he was doing a bit of RA on the way to work. Start the day right. That is my type of starting the day. Massive action right there with a full trolley, which is amazing.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of figures in there he's got going on. So, I think in that post he said something about coming back and getting a load more as well. So it looks like he's smashing it in his local communities. What's that, Tesco's? Looks like Tesco trolley to me. Looks like he's doing very well.
Fantastic.
Good on you.
And then there was also Claire, who basically mentioned it in this post, a bit of a bigger post, but just to sort of summarise to it, saying that they're actually leaving their jobs in July, which is amazing. So Claire is leaving her job, which is fantastic news. It shows that people are actually getting real life results from building their businesses. I've always thought, and I've always tried to focus on this myself, Andy, like when it comes to milestones, when it comes to setting goals in your business, like it's all well and good doing like, I want to get to £1,000 a day, or I want to get to 50,000 a month, or whatever. Like they're great goals, but what really fires me up is those life event goals where you're like, it's my first sale, or I'm quitting my job, like I'm doing this now. They're really significant moments that you really do remember. So good for you, Claire.
Yeah, congratulations, Claire. It's awesome. That's a real feeling to cherish and enjoy that moment of true freedom. And congratulations. We're looking forward to seeing how you go. So keep us posted on your progress. But can I just add an additional thing, because we were chatting just before we went on air, Kev, about something that happened to me today, and I think it's probably a worthy thing to add in that we're talking about. It's a bit of a left field thing here, but I had something come up in my own business on Thursday or Friday. I was out and about all day Friday, couldn't deal with it. By the time I actually realised the brown stuff was hitting the fan, I was too late to actually get in touch, and it was all going wrong anyway. I couldn't do anything before the weekend, and it was a proper, oh my god, this is going to be a nightmare type of scenario. If this turns out to be like it looks like it's going to be, this is going to be a real problem. It's going to cost me money, and it's a real stress, anxiety type of thing. And the thing is, you can go two ways here. You can't do anything about it. I knew that the people I need to get in touch is 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I can't do anything about it now. I can't resolve it. I can't find out more information. So I've got the weekend. So I had two options, I guess. You could ruminate on it and stress about it and worry about what could happen next week when you finally get in touch, and sort of let it sit on your mind. And I know that a lot of people listening and watching can probably, resonate with that type of feeling, that relate to how you can really let things get on your mind and get on top of you and worry about it, like Amazon suspensions that we're going to talk in a little bit about. But these type of things, you can either let it get to you and worry about it and sort of spoil your weekend and really sort of be distant with your family and friends because you've got this thing going over and over and over in your mind and worrying about it. Or you can say, there's nothing I can do about this at the moment, and I can do something about it. I will tackle it. And if it absolutely falls out of bed and there's problems, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And then you can stress and worry about something that is reality. But until that is a real thing, then there's no point worrying about it because I don't know what's going to happen until that point. So what I basically did was decide that it's not going to worry me. It's not going to stress me out. I'm not going to let it get to me. And so I had a great weekend and enjoyed it, spending time with my wife and getting out and enjoying the sun and doing bits of work and just having a good, enjoyable, relaxing weekend. And as it happened, I got onto this thing at 9 o'clock in the morning, tackled it head on, and by probably 10:30, the problem had gone away. Managed to resolve it and managed to sort everything out, no problem, no loss of earnings, no headaches, got to a conclusion, a solution. So here's the thing. That's great news for me, a massive relief. It would have caused me all sorts of trouble and hassle and money loss. But you know what? I could have worried the whole weekend, Kev, and thought to myself, stressed and anxiety and ruined the weekend for nothing, because it would have been for nothing because it didn't work out bad in the end. So the whole point of sort of worrying about it when it comes to it is a choice. You don't have to go there. You don't have to. And it's natural for a lot of people to sort of start churning away on things, but you can train yourself and get used to compartmentalizing things and say, okay, I've done as much as I can about this. I can't do anything about it now. There's no point sort of beating myself up about it. It is what it is. I'll deal with it at a later date. And, you know, in the end, I didn't have anything to worry about. So my choice to not worry about it was founded in the end. It's like a mini victory because it would have spoilt the weekend for nothing because in the end it came to nothing. So I think just want to just share that because I think it's a lesson for all of us. I'm certainly guilty of doing that in the past, and you know, it's a good exercise to have a word with yourself sometime and say, if you can do something about it, do it and resolve it. If you can't do anything about it, it's not down to you. So don't worry about it. You know, I think it's a good one to remember for the future.
Huge. Thank you very much for sharing that, Andy. I think for all of us, what we do, build businesses, and ultimately a part of doing what we do, we put things at risk. You know, at the end of the day, it's when you're building a business, things can go wrong. Things can go right. There are times where you are dealt a low blow or a curveball, and I think we're all guilty of one. And it always happens on a Friday or something when it goes
always.
into the weekend.
Guaranteed.
Always happens. Yeah, and it can, like you say, it can then be with you all weekend. You may then not get up on the Saturday morning as bright and early as you may want to because it's bothering you. You might have low energy for the rest of the weekend, which may end up ruining the time with your friends or your family or whatever you're doing. But what you did is do something that is incredibly difficult to do because we're human beings. Like, it takes muscle to do that. It does take practice. The more and more you consciously go, do you know what? I'm going to forget about this at this moment in time, and I'm going to show up and resolve on Monday and just work out whatever it is, resolve then. Until then, I'm going to have a good time with my wife or with my kids or with my friends. And I think that's a critical and very, very useful skill as entrepreneurs. I really, really do. And I think, it goes back to, I think is it out of the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, maybe, of effective people. I'm not entirely sure. Where it's talking about if something is not in your control, then there's no point in stressing about it. There's no point in doing anything about it. Like if you can't resolve something until Monday morning 9 o'clock because that's when they open, we've got to keep practicing and rehearsing ourselves to be like, right, okay, it's done. Let's move on. Because the bigger you become, the more you end up growing in your business. And you've got so many things on, Andy, with your own business. You've got messages coming at you all the time, people wanting your support. You've got students. You've got events to do. You've got all these things to do. The more bigger you become, the more muscle you need to have, and you need to. It's that comfort zone, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if you want to push on with what you want to do, ultimately you can make your life more complicated, and with complication comes things that go wrong and things that go right. And if we're in business, we're trying to aim for more things to go right than go wrong throughout the year. But you do have to have you do have to have a little bit of a thick skin for things to fall out of bed and things to go wrong. For exactly like you said, Kev, if you want to push yourself to do well in whatever field you're doing, then you do have to be ready for to fight fires and to sort of resolve issues as and when they come up. And sometimes it sucks, but you've got to be ready for that and have the mental toolkit to deal with it, I think, because it will happen, and it's almost never as bad as it seems. Your brain always builds it up to be an absolute nightmare, and I don't know whether as you get older it feels it almost gets to you more. I don't know really, but certainly when I was younger it didn't bother me as much, but certainly things have got to me in the last 10 years more than they used to. But yeah, you need to have that toolkit ready for emergencies to then say, right, okay, this is a thing, it's happened now, there's we need to deal with the situation and we need to find a remedy, and jumping up and down and sort of worrying and stressing and letting our anxiety creep in will not help. It will only make it worse and cloud your judgment. So yeah, having to be able to think through these things is very useful. I'll share just one issue that I had. God, no, that's probably 18 months or so ago, but that really knocked me. We were actually trying to buy a property in South Africa, and we'd gone all the way through to the point where we'd made a deal, we'd signed a contract with the person we were buying the property from, and we were just in the process of moving funds. And at that stage, it was the morning that the vote came out for Brexit, and we realised that everyone had voted to leave Europe. And it was that moment that we were trying to move funds across to pay for this property. And it suddenly changed the price because of the currency conversion by about £25,000 in the wrong direction. Wow. And it threw the whole deal out of bed basically. And that was exactly one of those situations where I had my head in my hand. I'm thinking, I've just signed a contract to buy this, and now it's going to cost £25,000 more. What am I going to do? Can I get out of the contract? All these different things. It's serious issues that come with that, and you think, right. But you could panic and you could think, okay, what's going to happen? But you just have to think it through and say, right, we're going to have to deal with it, take it step by step. I didn't realize that the currency was just going to plummet the day that we were trying to move the currency. But, these are things that happen. So you need to work on it and move forward as best you can and deal with it. And at that moment, it looked really, really bad. But you know what? We got through it. We managed to walk away with no problems. We were still friends with everyone, and they understood the situation, and it all went away. But I could really see that causing a massive issue financially and all sorts of problems. And in the end, we didn't get the property we wanted, but ultimately we didn't get sued or any other issues either. So one
of the things that came to my mind then, Andy, was next time you're in that situation where you may be buying a property, make sure you schedule to complete everything the day before a vote like that.
Whenever hindsight is an awesome thing, isn't it?
Just never ever. It's crazy what's happening in the UK and things, but you're absolutely right. One of my core beliefs, and one of the things you guys that are in the chat right here, and you, Andy, one of the things that I always try to work at is you can try to be at a 10 as often as you can, because you can only control the way you feel, the way you get out of bed and you start working. Put yourself at 10 at all times. So if a level 7 problem comes along, you're at a 10, you're ready to take action and resolve. But if you're like down on energy and you're only feeling a 4, every problem that's a 5, 6, 7, 8 is going to seem humongous to you. So all you can do is try being proactive. So thanks very much for sharing it. I think that was very valuable for many of us.
Cool. All right, let's move on to the next point then. We're going to go and get some questions now. Are we ready for that, Kev?
We've got a couple of questions, some pre-selected questions that came in this week. I think one of them is right here. which was from Sean. From Sean in the chat, I've got a screenshot out on here saying, my sales are dropping last few days. What's going on? I have over 1,000 items for sale now, and I had more stock. You got 600 at Amazon, 400 at eBay. That's good. You got some diversification there. Does Amazon slow down this time of year? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a great question, Sean. And here's the thing: I see this time and time again, and it's quite a common. It's not a mistake at all, but it's quite a common trap that you can fall into as you build on Amazon. If you're in the relatively new part, you can kind of microanalyze your sales a little bit, because especially if you go on a really good surge of sales and you're just doing well, and then suddenly it drops, it's easy to panic a little bit and say, what's happened? Where'd they gone? Is it the time of year? What's this? And I get this question asked so much, because it does happen, especially as people are growing, and I take people on this journey from scratch and building a business. So I get this question. It's like, where'd my sales gone? Here's the thing: they will go up and down. It will change from the time of year. It will change because of the weather. It will change because people go on holiday, what they buy, how they buy, when they buy. It will change. And when you've got a relatively small amount of stuff in there, you're growing really well, Sean, and it will even out. But as these things happen, it will just go up and down. It will drop off, and then for no reason, you'll have the best 3 days you've ever had as well. So you really need to look further back. You need to step further back and look over 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and 6 months, and 12 months to get a better idea of the trends and what's happening. Because if you look too close, all you're seeing are ups, down, and sometimes you'll never find an answer for it, Sean. So firstly, I'd say personally, don't panic about it. You will get these sort of fluctuations. The more you get in your inventory, the more even that will be. But sometimes you just get a few weird sales days, and unless it becomes a trend and carries on, then you might need to look further into it. I wouldn't worry too much, is my first thoughts on it anyway. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, I think you made a really good, valid point. I think it's depending on obviously how long you've been selling for. You may, just like anything, right? When we start anything and you take huge amounts of action, you're going to grow massively. Whether that is business, whether it's the gym, whatever it is, you're going to get some really good results. And then what tends to happen is, like, you want to continue building up on those results, but what will naturally happen is you may hit a plateau, or it might go down a little bit, and that's just natural. That's just the process of life. You're always going to go up and down, and depending on the size of your stock, depending on how long you've been building your business for, that sort of peak and trough, like the fluctuations. They, like at the start, when you're maybe just starting out, you may have like a fantastic day, oh my god, record day, to then the next day it's like the worst day. And I remember that so well myself. I remember thinking, wow, oh my god, look at my sales by 11 o'clock in the morning. And then the next day you're like, I'm already used to it because it's happened once. And I'm like, oh, yesterday I was at £600 by this time. What's going on? It's just a natural thing for us to do. Yep. One thing that I from being able to work with people and from seeing other people's businesses and things, one of the things that I tried to say in terms of sales and growing and just the natural sort of I guess the how severe that up and down is. I always challenge everybody, just try getting to a point where you're shipping every day. If you can try to ship every day, what's going to happen is you're going to have stock coming in every day as you sell every day. So you're not going to have that scenario where maybe you've just had a huge shipment go live and now you've got a good spike of sales, but now you've not had anything else go live for 4 days, and now you've gone on the decline again. So one of the first goals that I try to set anybody is, can you ship Monday through till Friday every day? And obviously it's easier said than done, because that then plays onto, can you find the stock? Have you got the time? Have you got the money? And all the rest of it. Everything comes from that. But like Andy said as well, it sometimes just depends the time of year, the time of the weather. Like if it's nice weather, we have sunny outside. People they're not on front of their laptops or on their phones purchasing. They're outside drinking a beer and having a barbecue. So there's all these things are always going to happen. I think what we need to do, and what I know we certainly try to do, is only be in competition with yourself like this time last year. That's a real true metric that you can do. So this time last year, are you better than yourself last year? Because that's all you can really truly measure. And that's it. Don't let yourself be beat down on it. There's maybe areas of your business that once you start to build your business, we're going a little bit more deeper into it now. There's maybe some areas that you could be focusing on that you may be not focusing on right now, which could get you another quick win, if you like. So there's a big conversation to have here on all the things that it could be resulting of. But I think I saw in the chat I think it's a general thing, because I think Luke says that sales are pretty slow at the minute. There's a couple of did I see a couple of comments here saying sales are down a little bit at the minute. Things will pass, just like the seasons, it'll pass.
Yeah, absolutely. It is what it is ultimately. But this, you see these ups and downs. It's not unusual for these sorts of things. And as Kev says, if you just have faith in the process, make sure what you're doing is correct. Make sure each buying decision is profitable and you're making money, and rinse and repeat, and just keep doing what you're doing and have faith in that, because the sales will come. And this is just what happens. If you get an unseasonably hot day, all of a sudden you can almost certainly see a small indentation in your sales, because everyone suddenly goes, oh wow, let's get out of the house, let's go out for the day, let's go to the beach, let's go out to the garden center, or let's do something, and they just suddenly drop what they were going to do and do something else. It's a distraction, and all of those things that they were going to buy on Amazon, they'll do tomorrow or the next day. They'll get around to doing it later. You're probably still going to get the same sales. They'll get round to coming back to you, but just that there's enough of an interruption to push things out, and all of a sudden you just see almost like a national a dip as something different happens. It can only be just a small distraction, and you'll get that. So don't sweat the small stuff unless there's a continual decline over a longer period of time. It'll happen. They'll be down, it'll be up, and as the weather gets better, you will see that people start going on holidays and things like that, and you'll get that. But as long as you're increasing and continuing to increase on your metrics, then you should be okay. But here's the other thing that people do. How many people are guilty in the beginning of sitting there with their phone going, let me just log on to the Seller Central on Amazon again. Oh yeah, I've made another 5 sales. Excellent. And then like 15 minutes later, they go, let me just check that again. Oh, I've made another one. Yeah, it turns into this little crack habit you get of updating your sales on your phone. How many people are sat there right now just checking how many Amazon sales? Oh, nice, I made some more. It's incredibly addictive. You've got to try and get out of that habit, or else
massively addictive.
You lose a lot of time just constantly going, oh, made another sale. That's good.
It's just like social media, right? Once it's that dopamine rush of like, ooh, is there something new? Ooh, have I got it? And then the worst thing about it is if you don't see what you want to see, then you're like, oh, something's gone terribly wrong. What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely.
But one thing I would say, by the way, there's 18 of us all in the chat, which is amazing. Thank you so much, all you guys being here. But we've only got 6 likes. What's happening?
Is it me?
Is it me and Andy?
My God.
Are we the wrong side again, Mandy?
Yeah.
I saw a comment from Mandy on the last video saying something along the lines of, we're the wrong way around and it's so confusing. What's going on?
Yeah, we're on a different piece of software. It swapped us around. Sorry about that. It's very confusing. But it's... it's great to see so many people in the comments though. Thanks for joining us live. It's always nice to have a bit of an audience.
Of course. So the next one then, the next one was from Simon saying, when sending in products with lithium batteries, Amazon asks for all sorts of questions about battery. Anyone know an easy way of finding out this info?
when selling in products and lithium batteries, Amazon asks all sorts of questions about the battery. Anyone know either finding this info? Yeah, I haven't had this for a little while, but they can be a bit of a pain with certain things. But yeah, if what's the thing? I'm just trying to rack my brain about if it's different whether it's as part of the thing or whether you're shipping it separately as well. I think. Can you remember the differentiation between that, Kev? I think there's something specific about whether it's part of a, bolted in as part of the product, or whether it's you're actually selling a battery, for example.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's been so long that I've actually added anything because the team all do it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm convinced what they do is when you add a product, it will ask whether there's batteries included, and a lot of the times we will just sort of, usually it's a no. So in terms of finding out this info in terms of that particular item, does it say on the package itself? I don't know. The package itself must say whether it's a lithium battery or not. I don't know. Yeah,
I can't honestly. It's been a while since I had that. I do remember what you mean, Simon. I'm just trying to remember. I'm sure there was two specific things that was in my mind about that, and I'll have to check. I'll have to check and find out, Simon. But I have a feeling there's something on the tip of my tongue about something specific about lithium batteries and how you can do that.
And that's the great thing about doing this show. If there's anybody in the chat or watching this back, if you got the answer to that, please don't hesitate to let us know. He's just added here as well because Simon's joining us live here. He's just basically saying that they were asking how many cells amps per hour.
Oh God, yeah, so that's a pain. Yeah, I mean, you might be able to Google it and look for the spec, Simon, but they probably don't list that in the manufacturer's details. It's not the sort of thing they go into details. But I mean, I guess you could just fill it in and put some. But I don't really know how to answer that unless you got in touch with the manufacturer directly and ask them. But they can come up with some ludicrous questions sometimes. It really is a pain. So I feel your pain there sometimes. It depends, Simon. If it's only a few, sometimes it's easier just merch fulfilling those particular ones to get out of the headache. But yeah. Not sure. Some of them will be easier to find than others. If there's specific battery in it, sometimes you can find the spec and it will tell you. But yeah, that's really specific information. I imagine the manufacturer would if you manage to contact them directly, but it's a lot of work. Maybe it's just it might be worth asking yourself: is it worth the hassle? But it depends what sort of money you're making on it, I guess.
Yeah, and then. Yeah, like I said, if there's anybody in the chat that can help out, then would be much appreciated. And then just the final pre-selected question, I believe, was Chris. Chris was basically asking something I'd love to know a little bit more about is multiple Amazon selling accounts. Maybe a great topic for the show tomorrow evening. I know you said that you have multiple seller accounts, Kev. But do you tailor them to specific category? Say one toys, one beauty, and another kitchen and home. So yeah, this is a great conversation to talk about, just in general for everybody that's on Amazon. Because one way that you can diversify is through having multiple seller accounts. Because if you get suspended in one seller account, you will not be suspended in the other seller account. Okay, but there is some very, very important rules and important things to think about. So Amazon, they do allow you to have multiple accounts if you've got the written approval by them. That's the first and foremost I'll say. Don't ever go through the process of opening multiple accounts without having that written approval. Now I'll give you the exact reason why. So I got written approval for a second account the first time we opened a second account, and it was like, I knew it. I knew because it's Amazon. I'm screenshotting this. I'm remembering the day. I've basically got a Google Drive folder the day that this happened, and I uploaded it all in there, saying it was like Amazon emergency, I think it was, and I uploaded it onto there saying with the screenshot of everything. And then literally about, I want to say something like a year later, it was crazy, like 12 months later, I get this email, the red flag of death, and this flag immediately saying, shut down your account, unauthorized. It was a whole lot of like, I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? So straight away, I was like, thank you so much, Kev from 12 months ago. Here's all the this was not very nice sort of notification. It was like this has not been approved. This is against terms and conditions. This should be shut down immediately. And I was like, oh, whoa, Amazon. Here's see, please find attached on the 13th of November 2016. You said that I could have this seller account, and I've not gone against any of your rules and etc. And then they literally put back saying, sorry for the confusion, please carry on. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. Like, it was one of those moments where it was like, oh my God, life, business, what's going on, falling down. But that's Amazon for you. So when we open the account, let me just share a bit more about the question. It was more to do with, okay, so if you're maybe doing online arbitrage, then if you wanted, for example, to open another account to solely focus on wholesale, or if you wanted to go out onto private label, you don't want to mix the different business models together, right? So that's why you would want to do it. It's not like I'm only doing toys in this account and then I'm only doing groceries in this account. It's not quite as sort of like niche down into that. It's more to do with the business models. But Amazon, they do have some strict rules. So you can have the same business. It could be the same business, but it needs to be a completely, from my understanding now, I would recommend anybody, just a disclaimer, just ask them for the current, up to date sort of things that you need to know. But at the time it was, you need a second business account, not the same disbursement account. You need to have no products are identical in the same in multiple accounts. So you can't have this for sale, product A for sale in both accounts, because then in theory you're now selling, you're on the same listing but twice, which gives you an unfair advantage. So you can't have that. They're the main things. You can't have the same ASINs. You've got to have different bank accounts. You've got to give a reason why you would need it, or why you want it. You've got to have a valid reason. You can't just have something like, I just want to diversify in case you suspend me. You can't have that. But Amazon, they will do it if you've got a legitimate reason for it, for some diversification. Let's say, for example, you did want to just solely focus on the accountancy of your wholesale operations, then that is a legitimate reason why you would do that. Do you see what I mean? There's many reasons why legitimately you would need other accounts. It just so happens it also hits the whatever you want to call it on the head, that it does give you that diversification as well. So highly recommend it at some time if it makes sense for you guys to do that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just relatively new and you're just doing RA or just doing OA and you're kind of just still building up, probably don't need to worry too much about it. But if you get to the point where maybe you're full-time, or you're getting to the point where you would really suffer if you lost the earnings, it's handy to maybe think about having a separate account to sort of diversify a little bit and spread the local, even just out of convenience, because even if you get suspended for a short period of time and you get it back up and running again, it's just nice to know that you've still got some cash flow coming in from the other account. So it is a useful thing to have, but it's not a necessity, but certainly is a useful thing to have. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a necessity, of course, but I mean, it's one of those things that you may want. It all really depends on what your strategy is. I would probably recommend all of you guys, to be honest, to consider it, only because even if I know an Amazon Seller Central account's going to cost if you're there as a professional seller, but I know for me, if one of our accounts was shut down and like we just like could not get it back, it just gives you something else. Like, okay, I'm going to start selling through this account. Do you see what I mean? It just gives you just something else to focus on, and ultimately.
Yeah, all I would say to that, Kev, is I don't know how open they would, if you like did a misdemeanor and for some reason they're like, no, we're not happy with you, we're going to shut you down. I think they know that that's your account, you've asked permission. I think they'd probably shut down both of them. If you did something bad, as in like, we're not happy, you're getting a violation, you've done something, you've committed the cardinal sin, we're going to take you off the platform. I think they'll be taking down both your accounts. I mean, a suspension's a different thing, but I think if you've been a bad boy, then I think they'll probably do both of them, don't you think?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting conversation. Obviously, if you've done something significant, like if a suspension is not the same as a termination. Obviously,
no.
If it's a suspension, then they shouldn't suspend your other account, because the problem is with that account. If it is a termination, touch wood, I've never experienced one before. So I can't comment. Somebody may comment watching this back at some time in the future that, God, yeah, I got all my accounts terminated. I don't know, but I just think it's something to think about long term for any, like. And Simon just says, is it still under the same LTD? Yes, you can have it under the same LTD. You can. I don't actually know, because one of the things that I was going to do, and one of the things that I am looking at, is I'm actually looking at opening another seller account through the Life Success Engineer brand, just a part of private label, you see. So interestingly, I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work when I try to open up that other account under another business and things, and it's all tied into, I don't know, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, our friend Larry in New York, who's a massive multi-million pound wholesale seller sells mostly in the UK, actually, interestingly, from New York. But he has always said to me, the only way you can be absolutely sure that Amazon aren't going to take you out is to have totally unrelated separate accounts, which is against Amazon's terms of service. You're not allowed to have separate accounts that you own that are totally unrelated, but that's how he does his business. He's turning over and moving around multiple millions of pounds on a regular monthly basis, and he needs to have that sort of situation where he knows that they can't take him out in that way. So yeah, he'll have totally separate accounts, literally separate computers, separate internets that those computers are separated on, separate businesses, and so on and so forth. But now I believe that you have to provide ID when you open up a new account. So whether you can do that anymore, I don't know. It might be a loophole that's now closed, but certainly that was a possibility. It's certainly a grey hat area. It's not something that is entirely advised, because it's against Amazon's terms of service. But if you wanted to be 100% like armored against what could happen in the future, then you needed totally independent accounts. And the only way of having totally independent accounts is have them not related to the other one, because if they know you've got that other account and for whatever reason they want to take you out, they're going to take you out. They're going to take all of those ones associated with you. So that's the only way of being 100% sure that you can be totally isolated. But as Kev says, I think most of the time you're probably not going to be in a situation where they want to literally remove you from the selling platform. You have to done something pretty bad. They're a lot better to be with that.
Yeah, and we're not criminals here. That's the main thing I would say. When we here, all you guys and us, we're legitimate sellers. We're not a part of something dodgy, and those people should be removed. Those people that are involved in stuff like that, they should be removed. But Larry, we may have to get him on the show, ask him if he's interested in coming on the show, because he's an absolute monster. You see some of his photos and his videos. He's got like 7 laptops, and he's just an Amazon warrior.
Yeah, he is. He's old school. He's been doing it an awful long time. He's incredibly driven, and I've got a lot of time for Larry. There's a relatively few amount of people that I really respect in the reseller community, not in a bad way, but someone that that I really have time for is Larry. Reezy, obviously, Mike is a good friend of mine, and again, someone who has an awful lot of experience and very generous with it as well. But there are relatively few that I would say are just genuinely really good people in the reseller community, and Larry and Reezy, definitely a few of them. And we'll have to see if he's got time to come on, have a chat with us about that sort of thing. He's just opened up a new warehouse, I saw on Instagram, so he's pushing on even further. So he's going to have another one in New York there. So he's cracking on big time.
Yeah, got lots of time for Larry, and I think it's you hit a good point. I think one thing that we've got to be careful of, and I think it's the right thing for me and you to say, Andy, is that there can be some dodgy people out there in terms of trying to share information about Amazon and all these things, and they're not from my opinion, they're not a legitimate and credible person to say maybe some of the things that they're saying. But Larry absolutely is. Larry's an absolute warrior. He's amazing, so inspirational, and it just shows what the potential is. It does show what the potential is, but also it does show that over this past weekend, there was another seller who's a significant size seller who was suspended. So it doesn't really matter what size you're at. Amazon, they're bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why Larry does have all those different individual accounts, and he has gone to those degrees, is because, he's had experience of that, and he wants to armor himself against those sort of issues. So, Watch Me Amazon, Sean, is Larry's Instagram account. Check him out and follow him, because, it's a crazy... it's a crazy business that he has created, and he's doing such huge numbers, but he's also got time to answer questions and share with the community as well. So he's a cool dude. So definitely follow him on Instagram and check out what's going on, because he's a good guy.
And now I think it's really I think the show's really timed quite well today, Andy, because we're in the last sort of 10 minutes, and we can go over to some of the live viewer questions. So you guys that have been sending in some questions, really do appreciate you guys' engagements. We can see we peaked at like 22 viewers in one show. Like, that's amazing. We've only got 11 likes. So I'm not 100% sure what we've done to you 9 people, but but it's okay. We appreciate it. We appreciate you guys being here. Yeah. And the first one of tonight's live viewer questions was from Sam. Sam, he's our likes champion in the chat. So big up to Sociable Sam, basically asking, a customer has asked today for a VAT invoice. I answered saying that they will get an invoice in the order through Amazon, but Amazon requested that we provide one. Who provides this, please? Okay, so are you VAT registered, Sam? I'm guessing probably not, only because if you can have that set up in Amazon, so that they will be able to download that anyway. So if you're not, then you basically need to explain to them that you're not VAT registered, so you can't provide a VAT invoice. But what you can do is they can download their own sales invoice from the Amazon's sales my order section. I believe they could actually download that, and they can use that as an invoice if they wish, because it's going to have Amazon's details on there. But you can't actually provide a VAT invoice unless you're VAT registered. If you are, then they should be able to do that for themselves. That's the short answer. Unless if you got any hacks for doing that, Kev, any suggestions? No, I think you hit the nail on the head there, to be honest.
You do have to kind of help them out, because customer service at the end of the day, if they say can I have a VAT invoice, you say, well, XXX business is not actually VAT registered, so we can't provide you a VAT invoice. But if you go to the My Order section of Amazon and click on the item, you can download or print out a sales invoice, which will have all of the details on there. If you need it for your expenses, blah 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 blah, you can do that. But you can't actually provide something if you're not VAT registered. So just word something nice to them, and say if you need any other help, let me know. But most people are kind of cool with that. If you send something like that, they'll understand.
Yeah, and just touching on the business aspect of it. A part of this Amazon business or business to business type setup that they have, there is the potential. There's the business Amazon storefront. Have you guys seen that before? Where you're looking at Amazon, but it's through a business account instead, and it looks all different. You're seeing prices like VAT exclusive and things, and when people purchase like that through you, they do have special privileges where, for example, they get like a 30-day period to pay the invoice. So sometimes what you'll have is if you're doing a disbursement, there'll be something in your account saying this particular invoice or this X amount of invoice is not being paid to you yet, but it's owed you because it's been through a business to business transaction. So there's a lot of things. Have you seen that before, Andy?
I've not personally, no.
Yeah, it's the. I was on it I haven't been on it for a long time, so I hope I haven't just like out live just. But I'm convinced that there is an actual Amazon business store where it's like.
Sounds right. It sounds familiar, but yeah, not sure.
Yeah. Let me have a look here. I'll find it, and if people are interested, I'll find it and send it to you.
Yeah, okay. So moving on from that, what we've got here. KP says, Kev, last week you spoke about about inventory performance. I noticed when you go to FBA in stock rate, then click on show more details, it will tell you estimated FBA lost sales in the last 30 days.
Yes, absolutely right. There's the inventory over the years. And you probably be able to back me up this, Andy. You've been doing this for over a decade, but over the years, Amazon have got a lot better and better at giving us information. Like, as much as some people may argue that Amazon's more difficult now than ever, they also give you so many more seller-related tools than ever. And one of them is absolutely, they give you so much information about your inventory performance. They'll tell you estimated FB lost sales. And it's quite staggering, actually, especially, I don't know whether Amazon do this on purpose or what, but like you look at it, you're like, oh my God, I've just lost £50,000 sales. What's going on? It's another one of those, oh God, hands on deck, we've lost 50,000. But yeah, they give you lots of information. They give you lots of things to look at. And this is just great information, though, KP. I do apologise. I'm not 100% sure who you are. So if you send your first name in the chat, we will remember you then, because we're quite good with names, me and you so far, Andy, aren't we?
Yeah, okay. I don't want to say yes and then get it wrong, but yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Remembering a few of them.
Maybe it should be a rule, like Sean, like Mandy, like Simon. If you just put your name as your name, then it'd be great.
It is always helpful.
Not like what was last week.
Oh, that was great, wasn't that? Was that Luke last week? I can't remember who that was last week, which was Golden Lady something.
Golden Ladies, yes.
Yeah, no, I can't remember what it was, but it was good, and I enjoyed it. So yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a random account that you logged in under, but yeah, it was good. But we will make fun of you if you log in under a random account. Don't think you can hide. We will find you.
And I think there was just another quick question there for. Was there something for you there, Andy, that I saw? I can't remember.
Oh yes,
something to do with
FBA UK said. I think I saw it as you were talking about something else. What was the date?
What's the date of your UK event?
Yeah, well, I am still waiting to get confirmation of that. It's usually in August, but I think this year it's going to be the end of July. Still just waiting to confirm that with speaking to all the speakers to make sure they can actually get there, making sure sorting out the flights for Easy to come over from LA, just getting the last few T's crossed and I's dotted to make sure it's all done. As soon as I sign off on the contracts and get that done, I will let everyone know when that is due to happen. But it should be end of July sometime. It will be at a weekend usually a Saturday. But yeah, looking forward to that. It's going to be a pretty special one. I'm always trying to make it better each year, but yeah, I think it's going to be a really good one this year. I'm looking forward to getting cracking. But yeah, I'll let you know as soon as I get it done. You'll be the first to know.
And that takes us to 59 minutes, which is a really, really good timing. It was a good setup to the show, I think. It worked well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we're improving every week. So yeah, it's been good. And thanks to you guys as always. We're getting more and more numbers in the chat every week, which is great to see. More interaction, more questions, and everything. So yeah, it's great to see. We hit 200 subscribers this week as well on the YouTube channel, which is amazing. And yeah, hopefully we'll just keep growing and helping you guys and growing together as a community. And yeah, loving it every single week.
That's it. Yeah, this show is our show, and you guys that are in the Facebook group, please don't stop putting out the questions. Andy's just gone and left me. So yeah. No, you're all right. Yeah, don't stop interacting in the Facebook group. Use the Facebook group. There's Des in there. Des will capture everybody's questions and topics and things. And just a quick shout out to everybody as always. There's Simon, there's Chris, there's FBA UK, there's Tom, there's KP, there's his name's Kev. We've got another Kev on the show. That's amazing.
Excellent. We'll remember that one. I'm sure we'll remember that one, KP.
Yeah, there's Jonathan, there's Sam, Nicholas, hey, Mandy, Luke. Amazing. Thank you guys so much. Really, really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up button. There's 18 people. Can we get it to 1818 before we go?
That'd be cool.
I'm willing to do an all-nighter if that's what it takes.
Yeah, we'll just sit and wait here until everyone's hit that like button. That would be very cool.
We'll just stare through the computer at you who's not hit that like button.
Yeah, it's all right. We've got time. We'll wait. That's fine.
Don't worry about it. Only Games of Thrones to watch.
Nah, don't worry about it. It's all good.
It's I really appreciate it. It's as always a fantastic show. Thanks very much, Andy. Enjoyed this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always good hanging out with Kev and hanging out with you guys in the chat as well. So thanks as usual, and we'll catch you next week. Hit your questions in the Reseller Show Facebook group if you want to know anything in between now and then. We'll give you a shout out on the show. And yeah, until that, have a great week. Keep on hustling, and we'll see you next week.
Keep taking massive action, guys. See you later.
See ya. Are we good?